the identity of Jack the Killer is revealed. Hello, friends. In 1888, in the neighborhood of Whitechapel, England, terror struck and at least 5 women were killed. The investigation of Jack the Killer is one of the most complex and mysterious criminal cases in history. Despite extensive efforts by the London police and Scotland Yard, Jack the Killer was never definitively identified or arrested. At the time of the crimes, the London police were actively investigating the cases, and thousands of letters were sent to the police and the media, some of which claimed to be written by Jack the Killer. The most famous of these letters was a letter called "From Hell," which was sent along with a piece of the victim's kidney. But in 1996, Charles Dodgson, under the literary name of Lewis Carroll, the creator of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland after his death, was found guilty of Jack's murders. A writer named Richard Wallace put a different theory on paper. That Lewis Carroll, a good-natured person whose only complaint in his letters home from boarding school was that his classmates were a little noisy, is Jack the Killer, and he committed these murders with the help of his friend Thomas Verveer. This is the basis of Wallace's book titled Jack the Killer, The Happy Friend. The main reason Wallace suspected Carroll was because of the anagrams of words. Carroll was a fan of word games and anagrams, so Wallace rearranged the words used in his letters and published works to find the hidden message within them that was related to the messages of Jack the Killer. For example, Carroll writes in Alice in Wonderland, "We went to the cook and asked him to prepare a dish full of oatmeal porridge. Then we called Dash to come in and said, 'Dash, now you can eat the special food for your birthday.' We expected Jack to jump for joy, but he didn't jump one bit." This piece of the story was written by Wallace in this way. "We, Thomas Verveer, Charles Dodgson, go to the victim's body, and we want to taste a good meal made from the victim's body and swallow it and enjoy it. We did our job, but it tastes awful. It was my wife. We both vomited." But Wallace has no tolerance for anyone doing this with his works. After Wallace published his research in magazines, 2 readers reacted vengefully to this article. They changed Wallace's opening paragraph in the same way and it became the following text. "This is my story of Jack the Killer, the man behind Britain's worst unsolved crimes." The story focuses on the most unlikely suspect possible, a man who wrote children's stories. This man is Charles Dodgson, better known as Lewis Carroll, and the author of the popular Alice's Adventures in Wonderland books. But none of these 2 are the main killers. Why do you ask? If you want to know who the real identity of Jack the Killer was, like, subscribe, and don't forget to activate the bell. One of the police officers, named Alfred Long, discovers a bloody shirt button near the stairs of an apartment on Golston Street in one of the murder scenes, and at the same time, he notices the writing on the wall that was written in chalk. The text on the wall was this sentence: "The Jews are all men who will not be blamed for anything." Now, new research has shown that Aaron Kamiński, a Polish hairdresser, has been identified as Jack the Killer using DNA evidence. This evidence was obtained from a silk shawl that was found at the scene of one of the murders. Dr. Jari Luhenlainen published information on the identification of Aaron Kaminsky as Jack the Killer in 2019. In addition, historical research and document review also played an important role in identifying him. By examining historical documents and available evidence, researchers were able to obtain more information about Kaminsky and his activities at the time of the crimes. Aaron Kaminsky was born a Jew in Poland in 1865 and immigrated to London with his family in 1881. He worked as a hairdresser in the neighborhood of Whitechapel. Due to mental problems, Kaminsky was admitted to mental hospitals several times, and because of threatening female family members with a knife, he became one of the main suspects in Jack the Killer's murders and finally died in Colney Hatch Hospital in London. He died in 1919 at the age of 54. East Ham Jewish Cemetery, also known as Marlow Road Jewish Cemetery, is located in the East Ham neighborhood of Newham in London. This cemetery is one of the Jewish cemeteries in London, and more than 38,000 memorials are registered in it. This cemetery is also the burial place of a number of victims of World War I and II, and 113 identified victims of these wars are buried there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't seen the previous video about the victims of this case, I suggest that you watch it. Discover the most anonymous and mysterious crimes in history with Holmes area.